Okay, Ben did not and has never called for fundraising. He does not know Jonathan Pollock. He has nothing to do with the guy. Ben's family, as far as I know, Ben's friends, none of them know any of this fundraising thing going on. So, with that said, that's a very nice new background you have, Ben. And I heard you've just turned 40. So, how's your 40th birthday?
Yeah, thanks, Stan. Yeah, today is my 40 years young anniversary. So, yeah, missing my mum and my partner and my kids a bit, but yeah, I'm trying to make the best of it. I've downgraded since last time I spoke to you. I did have a 2,000 square foot condo. I've now probably got about 100 square foot. But beggars can't be choosers, and I found myself a nice sort of cheap boutique hotel in near Katong. So I've never lived in the east before. I've always been a west sort of guy. So yeah, just exploring the local places around here. So quite enjoying myself.
Awesome, man. So, um, okay, we've got some itinerary here, but we're just going to go straight to the meat of why this video is done today, and that is the fundraising thing. Who the hell is this guy?
So yeah, absolutely no idea. I got a load of messages yesterday saying, "Oh, congratulations!" and "Who's this guy?" and not heard about it. And the first I heard about it was yesterday afternoon. So yeah, some guy called Jonathan Pollock, who I don't even know if that's a real person or not, put some post on saying that he'd raised 50 grand for my legal fees while I'm representing myself. So if I'm paying myself 50 grand, happy days. But I have not got any legal fees. I have rejected all offers of fundraising. A few people have suggested it. I've rejected all. Loads of people contacted me through LinkedIn to say that they supported me and they wanted to help and donate if they could, and I just said no because I didn't want anyone to think this was about money. So yeah, no idea. And then next thing, the mothership have run an article on their website saying that I've had 50 grand raised for me, and it was quite a nasty little sort of segment that this Jonathan guy wrote to try and stir up a bit more anger towards me, I believe. So yeah, I'll be trying to speak to them and ask them why they have gone live with this article when they haven't contacted me, because I know nothing about this guy, and I'm pretty sure he hasn't raised a penny, because if he had, I would know about it. People would be messaging me and saying, "Oh, I've seen this fundraiser. Is it legitimate?" before I donate or whatever. I haven't had any of that. It just came out of the blue. So my guess is it's just absolute nonsense. It's a hoax. And I don't think he will have frauded people out of 50 grand, because if there was a fundraiser there, I'm 99.9% sure people would have flagged it to me, and it would take quite a long time to get 50,000. So yeah, I think it's just nonsense. So yeah, not sure why Mothership would run with that.
Okay, so for those who are wondering, we did pen down some notes for the sake of organization and brevity, because for me, I tend to ramble. That's my superpower. I ramble on and veer off topics very easily. Then and of course Ben is very prepared. So when he's not in looking at the camera, just know that we just did this for the sake of organization, but everything that we say is the truth, and to the best of our ability, no, it's the truth, especially this Jonathan guy. So okay, just to completely clarify on the record, you don't know who this person is, you never
No,
met this guy, and you
oh,
never.
never heard of him.
How about your family and anyone, your friends, anybody who knows this guy? Or...
No, nobody knows who he is. He's probably not even a real person, would be my guess. So yeah, don't know who's behind it, but it's just a total fraud and nonsense. And I assure you, I haven't had a penny from anyone apart from one of my good friends, Liam, who has very kindly lent me some money just while I get through things. But he's an old school friend of mine. I've known him for 20 years. He's the only person who I've accepted any kind of monetary contribution from, and I don't need any help with legal fees because I don't have any lawyer. I've represented myself, and yeah, it's just total nonsense. So I don't know. I don't know what's behind it.
Shout out to Liam.
Yeah, Liam Robertson. He's a good friend of mine. He's a very successful businessman. He's got a few businesses, and he's probably one of my best buddies, and he very kindly offered, and I'll pay him the money back as soon as I win my court case against my former employer, which hopefully will be in the next week or so. As soon as if I get that money from them, the first thing I'll do is pay him back. So yeah, I have had one friend who's kindly lent me some money to keep me going, but I will pay him back. And this is not about money at all.
Okay, let's shelve this whole court thing for a while, because I want to get into it and open it in a big way later. But for now, let's settle what's at hand, which is this mothership thing. So mothership, what it seems, right, is that this publishing company has not done any or demonstrated any form of proper journalism on their part by just regurgitating a post of Facebook. Is it safe to assume?
100%, yeah. So when I went to the Daily Mail with my story for in the UK press, once I gave my version of the events, the journalist there said, "Okay, thank you for that. I need to now approach the Singapore police in order to get their side of the story. Obviously, to get both sides." They refused to comment, and that was put into the article. But they had the opportunity to rebut my allegations or whatever I was saying. So yeah, it looks like this mothership, they just fly off the seat of their pants, sending articles out into Singapore without doing any journalistic accreditation or checking whatsoever. And I'm not hard to contact. Yeah, they didn't speak to me about it. They just assumed it was true. And they've gone out there and it's had tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of views and comments. So yeah, really, obviously most of them negative. So very poor behavior on their behalf, and they obviously haven't done any checks to see if this is genuine or if this is false information. And yeah, this should be exactly the scenario where the government's POFMA act or regulations can be used. So I'll be exploring that option. So if anybody out there has any experience of dealing with POFMA, I would be interested to speak to them, because I believe I've got quite a strong case against the mothership. And I'll put my email at the bottom of this video so people can contact me, because my LinkedIn got taken down. So about 2 days after we spoke, I tried to log in and it just said your account has been disabled. So yeah, 10 years of work to build up my network, 20,000 connections that I had, and now just completely taken away from me. So I'll put my Proton Mail email at the bottom of this video, and then if people want to contact me, they can do through that. And if anybody knows anything about POFMA or has any experience, I'd be interested to have a chat with them.
So what we can safely say is that Mothership and Facebook, none of these companies nor employees or representatives of these corporations have reached out to you in any capacity, in any way, or tried to even contact you. None of them.
I probably wouldn't expect Facebook to, because obviously there's a lot of people on Facebook and putting all sorts of stuff on there. But for Mothership, which I believe is more of like a media kind of newspaper, online news, I would expect their journalists, before they go publishing an article about me and my fundraising, to probably check with me to make sure that it was legitimate and true. Which obviously, if they've spoken to me, I would have said I know nothing about it. So that it's probably them that has the biggest issue to deal with, rather than Facebook. But I'm not sure.
So they're just propagating hearsay.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know what's behind Mothership, but it's great.
And that's causing a lot of physical, financial, and reputable harm and injury to you.
Well, potentially, yeah. It was quite what they had written, what this guy on Facebook, Jonathan, had written, is quite. I could see why, if a Singaporean read that and they thought that came from me and from one of my friends, there was quite a lot of antagonistic language used in there, saying that I was threatened and I couldn't walk the streets, and saying that the police were aggressive with me and things. I haven't got it in front of me, but it was quite, I would say, it was something that could cause me issues if people took offense to what was there.
It sounds like a hugely controlled kind of narrative that's if you ask me, it feels very one-sided when you yourself don't question the victim in this sense. I mean, I classify you as a victim, but you won't see it that way. But person that has sustained harm, because I've seen some of the comments, and this is really less than pleasant to see some of the things
exactly. I
people
mean,
say.
I've given up looking at comments on press articles, but yeah, there's a lot of nasty comments saying that I should be, well, all kinds of different things said. But yeah, anyway,
How
that's
about your
what's
family?
happened. So they're fine. It's just like we would say in the UK, like water off a duck's back. We're not too worried. I certainly am not worried. I don't care what anyone says. So yeah, they're fine.
Okay, let's get to the real shit, man. Let's get to the court thing. So, okay, you arrived there, and then I've seen some of the articles that the media have written lah. So they said like you didn't want to wear a mask. In the end, you wore a mask, and then so they're insinuating that you're a hypocrite because you said something and then in the end you did it. So I see a lot of small insinuations that in the articles that they written. So what's the best point to start with this? Where exactly are you at? Where are they going? Whatnot?
So probably the previous day would be the start of the story. So I'll just sort of run you through it. So I arranged a meeting with the investigation officer at the Tanglin headquarters, the police station, I had some more paperwork for him. And they were just ignoring all of my emails. They were ignoring all of the stuff that we sent by postal mail, recorded delivery. So I said, look, I've got some new paperwork. I want to talk to you face to face. So I took some supporters with me. I think there was 8 of us all together. We managed to all get into Tanglin police station with our sovereign IDs. And we basically kind of stormed the police station. They weren't very happy because it's rules of 2 because of COVID, but we just said, look, we're all sovereign. Those regulations do not worry us. So we recorded it all. Let's have a conversation. So they tried to sort of take me off into a room quietly to get me into a private space, which I wasn't comfortable with. So we basically said to them, look, you either charge me or you give me my passport back. They're the 2 options. If you don't do one of those 2 things, we're not going to leave until one of those 2 things happen. So they were kind of backed a bit into a corner, and they decided to randomly just press charges against me. So I refused to sign any of the paperwork, but they read out the charges to me, and they added a new one, which was that I said some threatening words to the people who arrested me, which is hilarious. So yeah, they said, can you go to court 10 o'clock tomorrow? And I said, I'll go to court 10 o'clock tonight if you want to. So we went to court the next day, and yeah, basically the lady judge asked me whether I plead guilty or not guilty. I said, I don't understand what is happening here. I'm not guilty, and I'm not guilty. These regulations and these charges don't apply to me. I'm a living man. I'm not a legal fiction. These are for corporations, not for living men. And then I gave her my paperwork because I don't think she'd seen it. And she spent about 5 minutes looking at it. And then she kind of looked a bit flustered, and she said, where's your legal counsel? And I said, oh, he's up in the viewing gallery because the judge, sorry, not the judge, the security in the court wouldn't let him in because he wasn't wearing the correct attire for the judge, for their court, sorry. So yeah, we brought him down, or they allowed him to enter the court, and then she adjourned it, and then we were let free. So yeah, it was quite an interesting half an hour of my life.
So what do you think that means legally in this system when they adjourn the court? So they postpone, right? Or did they? What's going to happen next? Yeah. And what do you suspect? Are we able to conject anything, or and should the public be privy to your information? Should it change anything?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what will happen next, but my guess is they will probably drop the case against myself. But there's a bigger case going on, which is much bigger than my case, which we're getting a lot of support with from all over the world. We've got guys helping us in the background from the UK, the US, Canada, Australia. Our support team is big and global. It's not just in Singapore. And I guess we're trying to expose a few things around the birth certificate. the fact that when you register your child, you basically legally, not lawfully, hand them to the state. We're trying to raise the profile of that situation globally. And the fact that COVID emergency regulations do not apply to living men and living women, they only apply to corporations. And we're trying to make people aware of that. And our aim is on the back of this, not for me just to get my passport back and leave Singapore, which will probably happen. The aim is for them to have to drop all of their emergency COVID regulations to the people in Singapore. And hopefully this might have a knock-on effect to other countries where there still is mask regulations and social distancing regulations and things like that. So yeah, the case has got much bigger than just me not wearing a mask. And we're really hoping to use this as a platform to educate people and to make them aware that they are much more powerful than what they are led to believe, and that they don't have to, if they don't wish to, follow commercial maritime law regulations as living men and living women. So that's basically an overview without giving away too much.
Right. So just to clarify, I mean, this would be a differing opinion on you saying that it's a legal decision for parents to sign as an informant on a birth certificate their child to the state. However, parents do have legal jurisdiction and control over their child, ward, offspring until the child has reached the age of a majority or discretion. So in that sense, we kind of left our estate in intestacy. It's still in bailment. So I'm sure that those are deep intricacies, but in the future, I think, like you said, this is a huge, I mean, if anyone out there would hear any of this, right, and would even get a smidgen of what you're saying, you should be very, very concerned that you are not the person and that you have been voluntarily showing up in that capacity. And that's why all of this nonsense is going on. So I think, Ben, you're in a very, although uncomfortable, but privileged and blessed position to be showing the public a lot of things that, if you ask me, it's been bloody high time since we've seen, we see what should be seen.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to try to explain it myself because there's some people out there who I've listened to and follow, and I've watched their videos and stuff. So I'm not going to try to explain it all, but basically, if you're in Australia and you want to listen to an Aussie, there's a guy called Romley Stewart and there's a guy called Mark Pittelek, and they're two brilliant people to listen to. There's Dean Clifford, who's based in Canada, and the US. There's an amazing guy, Robert Michael. Rob has just been since you and I spoke last time, Stan, as you're aware, Rob was pulled over by the traffic police in America for driving over the speed limit. And he knows the law better than probably anyone in the world. And he refused to give any of his details because you don't have to. And they basically smashed his window while his girlfriend was videoing it and dragged him out of his car, arrested him, put him in the jail for 48 hours. And now he's got a very strong case for defending himself and attacking them back a little bit. So yeah, that's a case that I would definitely keep a close eye on, because his case with the driving offence, my case with the mask, these are two probably quite well known events that are happening where we're fighting back and proving through a lawful process that we have a lot of power if we know the law and if we know how to defend ourselves.
Okay, the people that you have they're cited, I'm going to leave as many links as I can, or at least remember in the links. So those out there who are concerned with their rights, so to speak, their unalienable God-given rights, can check it out. So I'm just going to run through quickly. Romley Stewart, it's one half of Justina Deception of YouTube with Rohan. And those guys are doing some really, really good stuff in Australia. I highly suggest. And then Dean Clifford has been in this for 15, 20 years. He's he has checked out other jurisdictions like common law, etc. And now he's setting up his own economy, so to speak, his own supply chain. And then Mark Patelli, I think he's in this for 20 years as well. It seems like people who are seriously into this are in New Zealand and and the Aussies. I don't know what's going on there. So, and Robert Michael, I highly suggest everyone to check him out, and he could use a little bit of support. I mean, if you ask me, the court that he's going to will be in for some serious learning soon, but Robert Michaels can use some assistance with affidavits after watching his stream with what really happened. So go on to House of Markers. Again, I'll bring all these resources below. So for your case now, Ben, are there any plans? Is there any way anyone can do anything? And is there any other important subjects that we should touch into concerning your case?
So, well, last time I said if anyone wants to contact me to get me on LinkedIn, but that is obviously not an option now because my LinkedIn has been taken away from me. So I've set up a Proton Mail email address, which is bglynn1981@protonmail.com, and I'll put a link. I'll put a comment so people can contact me on there. If anybody wants to message me to see what my paperwork looks like for this case in Singapore, I'm happy to share it. If they want to see what an affidavit of status looks like, I'm happy to share that as well. So yeah, if they want to contact me, I'll put my email, and I'd welcome anyone if they're interested to look into this. I've got lots of documents I can share with them just to get them sort of started in terms of looking into all this stuff. The only other thing I would say is in terms of Singapore, I went for a run this morning through East Coast Park, and all of the barbecue pits and the seats and the seating areas are all wrapped in this red orange kind of tape, so you can't sit down. I went to a water fountain, which I know I've drunk from before when I go for a run. Closed. There's no water coming out of it because of COVID. I went for a run last Sunday up the rail mall, up the old railway line from Gelita to Rail Mall, 5K. I counted 16 safe distance ambassadors and 4 Certis security guards wearing what looks like a police uniform in 5K. It was like running through Auschwitz. I mean, we need to push back, guys. Singapore was such a beautiful, amazing place to bring up a family with young kids, and now you can't get a drink from a water fountain. You can't walk on the green corridor without getting harassed for not wearing a mask, and you can't sit down in East Coast Park because everything's taped off. It breaks my heart, and this is what I'm fighting, or we're fighting against. It's turning crazy.
If we were to dive deep and investigate exactly what's the cause of it, like we said, none of us here are inciting violence. None of us here are inciting an uprising or a coup in any way. But it seems the problem is that we have a castle now, right? And it's not the enemy is the problem. Is that our own people are struggling to wind the gates down so that the enemies can enter the gates through the moat. It seems that the people are the ones who are very, I'm not sure if ignorant is the word, but they have very different opinions on what's really going on in the world right now. Is that okay? So that was the end of everything that's objective. Now we're gonna go to some serious conjecture right now. It seems like some kind of, I don't know, David Knight calls it Waitico. I mean, Waitico, right? It comes from some mind virus thing. It seems like some kind of brainwashing thing going on. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just here; it's everywhere. But yeah, we get all of our information from the media, and from newspapers and from the government, and you could even go into schooling and education. And the sources of our information and our knowledge is the same little core that's in the middle. So they control everything. They control healthcare, pharmaceutical, the media, the education. So their message is just so uniform and strong, and we get it from all our angles. So people just need to sort of think, okay, imagine if everything that you think you know could potentially be a lie. And then that's how you have to sort of start off and start challenging a few things. But
people struggle with that.
I get it. And I was fast asleep up until September last year. But once you sort of start questioning a few little things and thinking maybe everything I hear from the newspaper and the media isn't necessarily the truth, then the world becomes a slightly different place. It's quite scary. in the first sort of few months, but once you get your head around it and you do some research about what the truth really is, it becomes quite enlightening and quite empowering. And people need to start questioning their reality because, there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation that we're fed with from the age of being 2 or 3 years old up until now. And this is all coming out. I would not want to be in their shoes at the moment because there's a great awakening happening. So many people are questioning stuff. And this is the first time ever in the history of humanity that they have come out of the shadows and they have exposed themselves like this by these draconian measures that they're implementing on the human race. So yeah, there's a real battle going on. But I feel like we're going to win. And I would not want to be on the other side when we've got bigger numbers and when everybody starts really properly waking up and challenging stuff. I wouldn't want to be a politician, for example.
I'm big on I really want to see some solutions and explore solutions, but it seems like the people, they themselves don't want to know what's going on. Wait, what do you think is the best way to kind of grab them? I mean, don't do it, but grab them by the collar and
you can't.
Because
I've
from my
tried it,
experience,
and
from my
people,
experience, no matter what you do, right, those who don't want to understand won't understand. Those who don't know what.
yeah.
Do you have a solution, like a rough sketch?
No. Just I spent the first 3 to 6 months trying to wake all my friends and my family up, and just ended up falling out with everybody, and it was really frustrating for me, and it was probably annoying for them. So yeah, now I don't try anymore. I just sort of, if people are interested, then they come to me and I can share a few things. But yeah, trying to wake or shake people out of their slumber it's an impossible task, but people naturally will start questioning things. And there's definitely a lot of people waking up at the moment.
And you
People who
mentioned,
laughed at me 6 months ago are now coming back to me and saying, "Oh, sorry, I called you a conspiracy theorist. There's a few truths in what you were saying," and I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah, and you mentioned on the way out of the police station, one of the security guards actually knew. I mean, should we say that? I mean, someone actually knew what was really going on, right?
Yeah. He did. It wasn't me that he was speaking to, but yeah, one of my supporters had a good chat with him. To be fair, the police have been great. All the security people have been great. No one's been like harsh or horrible to me. It's just the system that they're part of is the problem, not them as individuals. And yeah, when I'm speaking to all the police that I've dealt with as human beings have been like nice, kind. I can tell they're nice, kind people, and there is some interest levels there in terms of what we're doing. So yeah, fingers crossed. This will all make a bit of a difference.
Yeah, that's been my experience as well. That people who are in the system, they're actually very good people, and they just want to get the job done and go home and go back to their family. So, I mean, those
100%.
those of us who are into this, right? We just, I mean, I just at least implore the other side to explore a different alternative to what you've been taught your whole life, because it's very disconcerting to know that everything you know in your whole life is completely upside down. It's literally everything you know is wrong. Every single damn thing you know is wrong. And for someone to be smacked with that within a few minutes or hours, right? I I mean, you better catch up fast. If not, there'll be a lot of ideas that you weren't able to digest.
So my list of hoaxes is as long as my arm, but the one that is my favorite, because everybody has these in their life, and my son loves these more than anything else, is the dinosaur hoax. And that's actually something that I've woken up a couple of my mates with. But they're like, "Oh, of course there was dinosaurs. I've seen the bones and stuff." Research dinosaur hoax using not Google, DuckDuckGo or whatever, and have a look into it, because yeah, that's a great hoax. Everyone who has a son has him dressed in dinosaur pajamas, dinosaur t-shirts. My son has about 100 dinosaurs. Dinosaurs, in my opinion, are a massive hoax, and that's just one of the quite a good example that might wake people up if they look into. Oh, hang on a minute. There's no such thing as dinosaurs, and it's almost up there with like Father Christmas or Santa Claus. Have a look into the dinosaurs. If you think we're crazy, research the dinosaur hoax and then tell me what you think.
I mean, we can definitely find all sides of the argument on the internet, and that's why I think the other side, so to speak, if you're going to classify it the way, is resting on the assumption that you can. There's always an echo chamber you can fall into in consciously or unconsciously. But what's really big to me, right? Let's make this the biggest big bang to this conspiracy discussion, which is the space. There has been no photographs taken in space ever for the past 70, 80 years, 90 years that we claim to be in 70 years that we claim to be in space. There has only been images, paintings, and CGI. Okay, there's never been a proper selfie done. Every single video you've seen is simulated with CGI in the NASA training pool. You have to do some serious questioning. Why? For me, once I came to that, right, and what the nature of this plane of existence, physical plane of existence really is, I felt nauseous and pukish literally for a day because I had dreams of space and probably even extraterrestrials and all those crazy fantasies. But having to drop all that within a day is it's quite difficult.
Yeah. So the research to do there is heliocentric versus geocentric model, and once I started looking into it, within an hour, I realized that everything I thought I knew about spinning globes around the sun was nonsense. So yeah, just look into Santos Bonacci or Eric Dubé. There's loads of stuff on YouTube. That is the biggest lie of all. And once you realize that we live on a stationary flat Earth plane, its planet, then once that becomes more mainstream knowledge, I think a lot of other lies will unravel, because that is the biggest lie of all, and it's so easy to prove. And the problem with lying is that once you tell one lie, you have to tell another lie to cover the first lie, and then a third lie to cover the second lie. The house of cards is just about to come crashing down. I'm certain of it in the next 6 months. But yeah, interesting stuff looking into the heliocentric model of the Earth.
I think when I came across that, right, and I felt so physically nauseous for a day, what I immediately realized was that my past 33, 34 years, I've been tossing away and poo-pooing away the idea of God and an external creator. But once I saw this, right, it was a big slap in the face that you can only serve one master, and all the while I've been serving the beast, the legal system. So because of that, I've given jurisdiction to them. And I think once they completely erase God, and they're even doing that in the Bible now, you can check the New Testament. They are debasing the languages, the words, to the capitalization of the word Lord. So once they remove God, right, everything else just falls apart. Do you feel that is the method that they're doing?
Yeah, so I'm very quite spiritual, and I totally believe in my creator and what we call God, but I'm not religious in terms of like following religions. So it's something that if you'd asked me a year ago, I would have said, "Oh, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in all that stuff." But now I've completely switched to the other way. But I'm not learned enough. I've not researched enough into it all. But I'm very confident that I have a creator who is putting this challenge in front of me to see how I cope with it and how we react, and fate and karma, and these are all things that I totally believe in. So, but yeah, it's probably a chat for another time. But very interesting. But yeah, the reason why they lie to us about the spinning ball is flying through space around the sun is to make us feel small and unempowered and as if we don't matter, whereas in fact actually we are more powerful than any corporation as an individual, and that's what they don't want us to know.
Yeah, I mean, once I noticed that, right, it feels like I've outgrown this whole lie and model. I feel so huge that this so-called fake cosmos cannot contain me. It feels very empowering, and I really hope that someone else would at least just double check with your own eyes. And I think that'll be a good way, good place to leave it. We definitely didn't. We definitely have ostracized ourselves and lost whatever friends that we have left with that topic, but probably a good
I would just
place to leave it.
I would just say question everything and believe nothing. And the word believe has the word lie in it. So don't believe anything that you're told, especially coming from me or from yourself. Just question everything, do some research, and if anyone wants to contact me, I'll happily share some info with them on an email.
And all of these topics, seemingly silly, do go together in a circle. They're all linked together, and I really can't wait for this whole thing to just fall apart. I'm just so sick of the lies, man. I just want to go back to the gym and chase my numbers again, but it's probably got to wait now. So, and what plans do you have in the future, and what's going on with you?
So I've booked this hotel for 2 weeks. So this is day 2. So I've been here one night. It's in a very bustling little area of town that I've never been before. So yeah, the cider pit opposite me is my office. So yeah, just gonna go over there on my birthday with my laptop, put my headphones on, have a few ciders, and do a bit of work. And that's about all. I just take it a day at a time. I run in the morning and then do a bit of work in the afternoon and just keep it quite quiet.
Awesome, man. Hey, Ben, it's been really good to catch up with you and to clarify some things. I mean, that Jonathan Pollard guy, the guy is dangerous, man. So again, Ben has nothing to do with him. He has nothing to do with him. So do not donate if you want to help, because I know there are some really good, well-meaning people out there. You want to help with this whole thing that we are doing, you can contact Ben, or for any silly reason you want to help me with anything, or if you want me to help you with anything, contact Ben, but don't don't do anything you're unsure of on the internet. So
yeah, if there's any fundraisers out there, I will not be supporting them. There'll be nothing to do with me, so it'll be a scam. So yeah, I've put it out there. I've rejected all these ideas of raising funds. So yeah, do not donate any money towards any of my causes, because it's not legitimate.
Yeah, everything that we've said in this video so far is not to be construed or assumed or tacitly implied to be legal or medical advice. So people who, I should have said it in the front, but now I'll retroactively apply it. So this is a notice, so do not assume it that way. And that being said, it's been a very, very good to catch up with you, man. We'll probably see you soon again.
Yeah, cheers, Stan. Thank you.
See you, man. Take care.
Bye.